I'm extra loud, and I don't need improvement. Fell asleep, a man woke up superhuman.
Yo internet, how's it going? Welcome back to the Jongravesshow. I'm about to do something that normally I don't mess with, and that's talking about Kotaku articles, especially since Jason Schreier himself went on to say that Kotaku is not a gaming site, so yeah, like whatever they say isn't necessarily, credible. These are coming from Jason Schreier's words. Like these are his words. I'm sorry. But yeah, I gotta talk about this article because it's actually rather funny to me. But yeah, I'm gonna take you down my process because again, like I read this once and I was kind of scratching my head about it because it's kind of silly. But yeah, it's not that's not how the Force works. Jedi Fallen Order, right? And it's really funny to me because he starts out by saying, "I'm enjoying Star Wars Fallen Order a lot. It's filled with references to the Clone Wars, nods to past games and movies, and it looks and feels like a playable Star Wars film. But one part of this game that irks my inner Star Wars nerd is how the game handles the Force." Now, when I first read that, I kind of thought that he was talking about Cal's ability like to kind of like see history through the Force. Such as like you would like the Force like leaves echoes and whatnot, then he can kind of like touch that item and then kind of see like see what happened and everything, kind of like that scene in The Force Awakens when Rey grabbed Anakin's lightsaber and like she kind of could see like his entire history play out, that kind of thing. Kyle has an ability similar to that. I forget what they call it. I think they call it Force Echo. I think that's what it is. But yeah, I thought that was the ability that he was talking about, and I was like, no, like that ability actually exists. But reading on, we hear, I understand that Fallen Order is a video game, and and as such, some things are just unavoidable. For example, rewarding players with experience and power for killing things does not seem to be the opposite. For killing things does seem to be the opposite of what the Jedi teach and preach. But this is a big budget action game. It needs combat and leveling up. So I understand why Cal is a murder machine that gets stronger as he kills. But there isn't a great alternative that also lets player enjoy being a badass Jedi. Now, that second paragraph really doesn't mean anything, because this just comes from the guy, or at least like it sounds like it's coming from somebody who knows nothing about Star Wars, which is funny because he has a lot of references to other Star Wars media, namely Star Wars Rebels, right? And it's funny to me because you just said that they referenced the Clone Wars, all right? What was Anakin Skywalker doing in that? What was Obi-Wan doing in that? Right? What was Ahsoka Tano doing in that? And Yoda and Mace Windu? What were they doing? They were Jedi and they were killing people. That's what they do, right? The thing, don't get it twisted, right? To where that Jedi are just like Jedi are basically supposed to be killing pacifists. No, that's not what they do. All right, it's basically the Jedi are basically, you don't use the Force or your powers for personal gain. You use the Force to understand the world, and on top of that too, last time I checked, Cal had a blue lightsaber, which means that he was a Jedi Guardian. So most likely, everything that basically that his teachings go into are combat based. right? Guess who else, man, was, man, like, man, a Jedi Guardian? Like, there were two of them, right? It was Anakin Skywalker and it was Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, two guys, man, like, who, man, like, could chop people in half, man, with their energy swords. So that's kind of silly. But I digress. Now what is the real problem with this, right? When you start playing Fallen Order, you are quickly told that the way to earn more force points is to attack and kill enemies. This caught my eye. Strange. First, the force isn't some power you fill up. But again, this is a video game, so I get having powerful abilities tied to a meter first that drains. but is that if I want to use the force? I have to kill or attack something. I haven't beat the game yet, so maybe later on this isn't the entirely accurate. But so far the only way to earn more force or force juice is to fill up your meter by fighting things. I have been playing this game for the past 4 days. And here's the thing: not only is Jedi Order, it's a really good Star Wars game, good enough to get me to go back and watch some of the movies again, look at some of the comics again, look at some of the theories and all this crazy lore again, because it got me looking into the stuff again. So I praise it for that. But here's one little detail about this that I think that he doesn't get, and is that this meter that he's talking about, yeah, basically like it's in the game, but that meter only comes about when you're not in combat, or at least like when you are in combat. Because when you're not in combat, you can use force, push, pull, pull, slow as much as you want. Reason being, or at least from, visual storytelling and whatever, right? You are not in a high stress situation, and you can just calmly just use your powers like at your own leisure. That's just how it works, right? But however, when you're in combat is like some of these guys are attacking you when you're parrying enemies. You can be fighting a robot and then somebody is off in the distance with like with like a laser rifle, like just shooting like bolts and bolts and bolts of lasers at you, and you got to fight a robot and a giant monster and two guys, man, with giant like energy spears. So the game keeps you on your toes, and if you could just easily like just force push everybody away like as much as you wanted to, which that fun fact, this would this was even the thing like in the Jedi, what was it, in the Jedi Knights games, in the which games were those? It was the Star Wars episode 3 game, Force the Force Unleashed games, the Knights of the Old Republic games. Like, it's a video game. I mean, like, I don't get this article because he keeps attesting the article to saying like, yeah, I get it, it's a video game, and that basically he hasn't beaten it. But I'm like, here's the thing, right? I would say that the Force isn't necessarily Force points. I would say that it's something based on his morale or like his mental stability. Because it's like, well, now you can't just go into battle like just throwing away all of your resources, because if you do that, then that can kind of mess you up mentally, then you won't do as well. That, and also, he's a Jedi Guardian. The Force really, I mean, like, most of them, like, they didn't really get further than doing force push and pull. So that's not really his thing to be yeah, man, like, man, the Force is like X, Y. Like, nah, like, that's not his thing. His thing is just to push people, pull them, and maybe throw his lightsaber every now and again. That's about it. Other than that, you know, is what it is, right? But yeah, let's continue. The Force is as described by in the Jedi films. Yeah, midichlorians. You say yes, Fallen Order is an action game, but there had to have been other ways to limit players from spamming Force abilities, such as using a meter to do that, like they've done in every other game. Okay. I mean, like, cause there's a skill in there where like that you can just force pull guys to you and just stab them in the stomach, just instantly killing them. So why wouldn't you put a limit on that? It's like, why wouldn't you do that? If I could just pull guys and instantly stab them and kill them, like, you know what I mean? Like, what kind of crazy thing is that? I mean, like, there's also an ability to let me slow people. Like, I can hit them with the Force and and make them move in slow motion. So, come on now. Maybe players could earn more Force points by blocking and dodging attacks. You know what's actually funny about him saying that? You actually do that. You actually do get Force points from actually parrying and blocking specific attacks, because that's tied to a specific skill you get. Crazy, huh? Which feels a bit more the way the teachings of the Jedi. Actually, no, it's not, right? The teachings of the Jedi are basically like, again, don't do anything for yourself. Everything about the teachings of the Jedi is to be as emotionless as possible, whereas the Sith is the opposite. Feed into your emotions and do this and do that. And since Cal isn't using any dark side abilities, well, slow technically is a dark side ability, but you know, he's not using anything. So like he's not doing anything like out of malice or hate. So technically, he still is in the ways of the Jedi. So that's kind of okay. And only after a fight, when you rest at meditation points, does your connection to the Force strengthen, or award players with Force meter after avoiding combat with smaller animals and weak enemies. That sounds terrible. That sounds terrible and complicated. That sounds as bad as the Final Fantasy, what was it? Final Fantasy 14. Oh wait, Final Fantasy 15. When they gave you the ability to do that, or at least like, man, when their level up system was like that, it was like you level up, but when you fight enemies, you don't gain the experience until you rest at a campsite. That is the worst idea ever, because of the simple fact that you need skill points, or at least like the skills presented in the game. You need them. You need them to survive. The dodging, the all of the parry abilities, like that. I mean, like the parry bonuses, the Force push pull up, upgrades. You need those, and doing it this way will kind of destroy like everything like of it being a game. But yeah, like, I think you kind of get the gist of what this article is, right? Some guy who wrote this, Zach Zwazin. All right, Zach Zwazin, you know nothing about Star Wars, and you know nothing about video games, because again, I don't even get what this complaint is even about. But at the reality, or at least based on what is presented, right? Cal is a Jedi on the run, and he's fighting in self-defense, right? Do you think, man, like that? I mean, like, have you seen Rebels? Well, obviously, man, like, you have pictures from Rebels. Rebels. What did they do when people were trying to attack them? What did they do when they ran into the Inquisitors? Like, you think like that they didn't fight them? You think like that they like just sat there and was like, yeah, like teachings of the Jedi? Like, what? Either way, that is what I gotta say about that. I'll see you guys on the next John Graves show. Keep watching anime, keep playing video games. I'm out.